how to get over the painful memory of anxiety. Now, if you were like me, anxiety stripped everything away. In fact, for me, anxiety stripped away my livelihood. I ended up moving back home. I felt like I wasn't able to do anything for a very long time. And I was also experiencing very bizarre physical symptoms, intrusive thoughts. And I was even thinking, if I got out of this, how was I gonna forget about this? How was I gonna overcome something this traumatic? Because it really was, it shook me. It shook my whole reality. And you may be worrying about that too. You may be concerned about that. Is this something that you're always gonna have to deal with, some sort of PTSD of some sort? And in this video, I really wanna break it down for you because remember, you and I are the same. We went through a lot of the same things. The only difference is I'm a few steps ahead of you. So I wanna show you really what happens. So let's get it started. So like I mentioned, when anxiety hit me, it came out of the blue, especially for somebody who didn't really struggle with anxiety in the past. Experienced anxiety just like anybody else, but I never really struggled with it. And not only did I not struggle with it, I didn't know why I fell into the cycle. I was just at work one day and I got a panic attack. It just came out of the blue. It was like one day it wasn't there, and then one moment it came and it just never left me. And it just happened. And for a long time, I always felt like I had just bad luck. It was just something that happened in life, and some people got the short end of the stick, and that was me. And that just was what it was. And I remember even thinking, if I could get out of this, because remember, for me and my journey, I didn't even know it was possible. There weren't resources like this. There was nothing like this. It was very difficult. And this wasn't that long ago. And so much has changed already in just a short amount of time. But when I went to people, they told me, different specialists told me that this was always something I'm gonna have to deal with, something I'm always gonna have to manage. No matter what I did, I wasn't able to get the answers I was able to get. And I always thought to myself, even if I was able to get that miracle cure, or even if I was able to overcome this, no matter how long it takes, how am I gonna get over this trauma that I experienced? How am I gonna get over this shock that this happened to me, and what if this happens again? And there was a lot of unknown factors here. Now, one of the things to understand is that a lot of people equate the fact that having a painful memory means you have to forget it, right? A lot of people say, how do I forget about this? How do I forget about going through anxiety? And my answer is always, you shouldn't forget about it. You really shouldn't forget about this. It's important that you remember it, but it doesn't have to be so painful. See, when people are going through anxiety, there's a huge emotional connection when you're experiencing anxiety. There's a huge emotional weight that you're feeling. And so once you overcome and once you recover, yes, you will remember the times you struggled with it, but you won't feel the emotions that come with it. Right? You may be thinking about times that you were really struggling or where things got really bad, and you may feel like an emotional reaction to it. But I help people around the world overcome the anxiety, the physical symptoms, the intrusive thoughts, the depersonalization, derealization, the weird emotions, and have them go back to living. And every time I make videos like this, or I'm guiding them step by step, I don't remember the pain the same way. Can I remember it in a psychological way? Yes, but not in an emotional way. I don't feel the emotions that come with it anymore. But when I was struggling with anxiety, I was feeling the emotions with it, and it was very heavy. But over time, once you get more and more better days, it's almost like a chapter. It was closed. You can remember the chapter, and it's important to remember the chapter, but it's never a hindrance. See, I find a lot of people, especially in today's day and age, they use these traumatic experiences as a crutch, as a form of handicap. And this may be a little bit contentious, but sometimes they use it almost as an identity and as almost like a badge, that they've gone through something like this, and because they've gone through some traumatic event, they can't do this. and however they're feeling is validated in a certain way. I understand what they're trying to say. But the problem with that is because you're going through the anxiety cycle, having that approach puts you a little bit more in the victim mentality. And if you have that approach, you're not going to be able to recover. And so what I'm trying to say is that you can use this traumatic experience and not use it as a scar or a wound. You can use it as a source of wisdom. You know, there's something out there called post-traumatic growth. Not a lot of people talk about it. A lot of people talk about trauma and experiencing trauma and how past traumas can affect you now, but nobody really talks about post-traumatic growth, which is what happens when you experience a trauma and you become more resilient from it. Not just resilient, but more confident. What happens is a lot of anxiety sufferers that you see, they're normally a victim to the anxiety. You talk about you will always hear people talking about how bad their anxiety is. Just check it out in any forums. Just check it out in these comments. And just scroll down in the comments of my video and you'll see it yourself. Even though I'll talk about it, people are so engrossed in their own anxiety that they will talk about their own symptoms and totally disregard what these videos are saying. But the truth is that even though everyone talks about their anxiety, when you overcome this, it really is a source of strength. I remember looking at it and saying, why did this happen to me? And now I almost look at it as, I'm glad it happened. I don't want to go through that again. I'm glad it happened and I learned a lot from it. There's this concept, and I've mentioned it before in this channel, called anti-fragile. And it's the idea that when something breaks, that it actually rebuilds stronger. And the example I like to give is like a bone. Let's say if you break a bone, when you break a bone and once it heals, once your bone heals, the place that it broke, it actually gets stronger. It's more dense. And the reason why that happens is so that there's not a similar injury. So it doesn't have a similar injury. So it's actually stronger in that place. It's not weaker because it's gotten an injury. It's actually stronger because of the injury. And certain things in life you can experience can actually make you stronger, can make you a better person. That doesn't mean you forget the experience, right? Because remember, anxiety is about survival. If you saw a tiger once in a certain situation, you don't want to forget that. But you can go to the same situation knowing there's no tiger this time. It's okay. It's fine. Right? That was an isolated incident, right? And that's the same thing with anxiety, right? You don't want to forget, but you also don't want to be a prisoner of your memory, right? You want to focus on using these experiences to become a better person, because you can be a better person because of this. And in fact, you'll be able to do bigger and better things, right? In fact, I think once people recover and if they really want to do big things in life, they will hit even more obstacles. There will be other things they will hit. It's almost like the bigger things you want to do in life, the more obstacles you'll hit. But that's how life is, and that's okay. You can use them as opportunities to grow and learn, and not every time as a wound or a scar or a badge that you've gone through something difficult. But focusing on you've gone through something, you learn from it, and you move on. And I look at it as almost like a blessing now because I get to do amazing stuff. I get to film this content for you, right? And that's amazing. That's incredible. I get to do these things where I get to help people around the world and I get to see them get better. And I mean, to be in a position to do that is incredible. For me, it's not just being able to help people, but it's having the opportunity to help people, especially because of what I went through and the fact that I didn't think I was going to make it. Not only was I able to make it, but I get the opportunity to help others. It's a dream come true. But if I always thought about this as, this was always something I'm going to have to deal with. How do I forget about this? I don't want this to happen. But if I was resisting it too much, it wouldn't have worked that way. At a certain point, you embrace it. You don't judge it. And you move forward with what you've learned. And it will make you a stronger person. And again, it will make you anti-fragile. So anyways, I hope this video helps. I wanted to really discuss this concept that I see very often where I see it on my comments. I see it when people DM me. I sometimes see it when people email. I obviously get a lot of success stories. I get a lot of recovery stories, and I love everybody that sends that. But I also get a lot of people asking these kinds of questions. And the important thing to understand is that right now you're going through a really difficult time. So there's a huge emotional punch. But once you get better, you'll be able to remember it and not have the same emotional weight that you're feeling right now. And you'll be able to use it as a foundation to do other more difficult things. Because if you're able to overcome this, the world should be a playground. So anyways, I hope this video helps, and I'll see you in the next one.